Ridley Scott's Gladiator is one of the most iconic films in modern cinema.
I think it's a great old-fashioned yarn, and we ain't seen this before.
But behind its sweeping battles, gripping performances, and epic story lay a production troubled with chaos, conflict, and disaster.
The script, it was terrible.
I did think a couple of times maybe my best option is just to get on a plane and get out of here.
Let me go home.
Striking story.
The first challenge, the script wasn't finished when production began.
We are very light on the screenplay. The story is all there, but the dialogue wasn't.
Russell Crowe, cast as Maximus, clashed with the scriptwriters, calling early versions of the script garbage.
At the core of what we were doing was a great concept, but the script, it was rubbish, absolute rubbish.
Crowe criticized what he saw as a lot of filler in the script, such as descriptions about the different types of chariots used by famous gladiators.
Some famous gladiators had endorsement deals with products for olive oil and things like that, and that's all true, but it's just not going to ring right to a modern audience.
While there was a core idea in place, writers worked intensely during production, fleshing out the story as the cameras rolled. Several changes were made on the fly, sometimes dictated by the actors themselves.
We were making a movie that grew as we made the movie, and little things became big ideas.
We've got a better chance of survival if we work together.
Next.
Perhaps the most notorious challenge was the untimely death of actor Oliver Reed, who played Proximo.
I'm a gladiator trainer who, in the past, was a gladiator himself.
The casting of Reed in Gladiator marked a return for the actor in a major cinematic production.
If you get involved in something as big as this, you've got to believe that your character can compete with it, because there's a hell of a lot going on around.
Everyone around was really looking forward to Oliver Reed being back and Oliver Reed strutting his stuff. And as a matter of fact, the last moment of the movie was designed for him.
But tragedy struck when Reed, a notorious drinker, challenged a group of sailors at a bar in Malta to a drinking contest, leading to Reed's death from a heart attack.
It was shocking. I mean, I absolutely couldn't believe it.
Your first reaction is kind of a human reaction, because he was a lovely man and you saw this artist kind of coming back into the fold. But really quickly you then start thinking about, oh my God, what does this mean to the movie?
Oliver Reed's unexpected death forced significant changes to the film.
And there were two choices, pragmatically. One is to hit the insurance company up to reshoot everything he did. And the other was to try to get through it.
I think Ridley wanted to maintain everything that Oliver had already done, because it was so good that he didn't want to have to throw it away and do somebody else.
The story was restructured, with Proximo dying near the end of the film. This change gave the filmmakers a challenge of working with the existing footage they had of Reed.
If a main character dies, he has to be seen to die. You can't have people say, oh, by the way, he's dead now.
By combining existing footage and CGI, the production team was able to complete Reed's performance.
Is it ethically correct to digitally recreate the scene? I mean, it's like, it is him. He just said it somewhere else, but with anything in film, if it's the image, if it's the sound, I mean, you do manipulate.
All we were doing is completing great performance that Oliver had given.
We mortals are but shadows and dust. Shadows and dust, Maximus!
One of the most intense challenges during the production of Gladiator came from Ridley Scott's decision to use real tigers in the Colosseum battle scenes.
With the tigers, very, very cool.
Live tigers were brought to the set under the supervision of a team of professional animal trainers. The unpredictability of working with live predators created tense moments on set.
And they got close to Russell. The first time we did it, the first thing we did was, I think, Russell gets hammered to the ground. He falls back on the sand. The earth opens, the trapdoor opens, and there's a tiger right there. And he was right there. It all just worked like clockwork.
You know, obviously there are some things with the tigers and stuff that I didn't do, but I did enough.
Crowe admitted that being within striking distance of the tigers added to the intensity of his performance, but also left him genuinely fearful.
And the trick is controlling your own fear, suppressing your fear and suppressing your adrenal glands, because these guys smell you. mean, the tiger fight alone, you know, it was scheduled for 4 days, ended up taking, 8 days of main unit, 10 days of second unit. I mean, these things expand. Tigers don't do what you ask them to do every time. They're not malleable like a doggy.
Special effects also came into play in making most of the close calls with the tigers seem worse than they really were on set.
Basically, the tigers were shot on a blue screen with the same lighting conditions as the day itself. And what we ended up doing is we basically matted out the tiger, kept all the dust information to make it look like it is actually there, not floating above ground, and basically fit him into, just drop him into the shot.
The end result was a sequence so visceral and gripping that it became one of the most memorable moments of the film.
Gladiators, I salute you.
While the precautions taken with the tigers kept the danger to a minimum, Russell Crowe still had to deal with a number of intense battle scenes that took their toll on the actor.
Little battered and bruised and scratched. I don't actually think that there's one part of my body that hasn't had some kind of physical rupture.
Crowe suffered multiple wounds during production, including a broken foot, an Achilles injury, and has been dealing with a disintegrating hip from a fall during filming. Yet he pushed on, determined to embody the resilience of Maximus.
I really just had one line going through my head. You know, it's 184 AD.
You're a Roman general and you're being directed by Ridley Scott. You know, so that drove my motivation a lot.
Regardless of the day-to-day battering I've been receiving and the bruises and the blood and the scabs on the knees and elbows and stuff, you know, it's been a fascinating experience.
Is this not why you are here?
In the end, the trials and tribulations of making Gladiator only added to its legend.
When I first saw it, I was blown away by it. When I first saw it with a crowd, that's when it really freaked me out, because it was like going to a movie when I was a kid.
Against all obstacles, the film triumphed, earning 5 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Actor for Russell Crowe. But more than that, it became a testament to the grit, creativity, and perseverance of everyone involved.
We have people say, can't believe you won the Academy Award for that when it's just an action movie. And it's like, well, you should maybe look at it again and remind yourself what he goes through.
I will win the crowd. I will give them something they've never seen before.
Are you not entertained?